When Christopher Nolan set out to bring Batman back to the big screen in 2005, he wanted to strip away the fantasy and create something that felt real, raw, and dangerous. The result was Batman Begins, a film that changed the superhero genre forever. But behind the camera, there were strange accidents, hidden stories, and weird decisions that few fans know about. Christian Bale went through one of the most shocking transformations in Hollywood history to play Batman. Just months before, he had starved himself for The Machinist, dropping to an unhealthy 120 pounds. For Batman Begins, he gained more than 100 pounds in record time by gorging on pizza and ice cream daily. Bale got so big that Nolan told him he was too fat for the role and had to slim back down before shooting began. The botsuit, while iconic, was a nightmare to wear. It was so stiff and tight that Bale struggled to move naturally. Simple tasks like turning his head or raising his arms were nearly impossible. He even joked that going to the bathroom was out of the question for hours. This frustration later inspired Nolan to redesign the suit in The Dark Knight to allow more flexibility. But during Batman Begins, Bale was stuck sweating inside heavy rubber armor for long, grueling shoots. The famous growling Batman voice was never part of the script. Bale came up with it on set, saying he wanted Bruce Wayne to sound monstrous when hidden behind the mask. He described it as a beast coming out. Nolan instantly approved, though the voice would go on to divide fans for years. Some thought it was terrifying, while others mocked it, but it became one of the most memorable aspects of his performance. Nolan was determined to make Gotham City look as real as possible. He avoided heavy CGI and instead used practical sets, real locations, and even miniatures. The Narrows, Gotham's dark and decaying slum, was a massive miniature model built by hand. From the streets to the bridges, every detail was crafted. The monorail system was built as a full-sized set towering over actors. This commitment gave the film a gritty realism that set it apart from the comic book style of earlier Batman movies. The Batmobile, known as the Tumbler, was more than just a prop. It was a fully functional vehicle that weighed over 2.5 tons. With a roaring jet engine and the ability to actually drive at high speeds, it was like a tank disguised as a car. During filming in Chicago, one driver mistook it for a UFO or some kind of military machine and crashed into it while drunk. The Tumbler barely had a dent. Accidents didn't just happen on the streets. During the icy sword fight between Bruce Wayne and Henry Ducard, Liam Neeson slipped on the frozen set for real. Instead of breaking character, he continued fighting, and Nolan loved it so much, he left the stumble in the final cut. Bale also had his share of accidents. During one of his early fight scenes as Batman, he punched a stuntman too hard, sending him to the ground. The scene had to be paused until everyone was sure he was okay. The infamous bat swarm scene in the cave mixed real and digital effects. Nolan wanted authenticity, so the team brought in live bats along with CGI ones. The handlers did their best, but the animals couldn't be fully controlled. Bale admitted that a few bats smacked into him during filming, forcing him to stay calm while chaos fluttered around him. It made the scene look far more unsettling than anyone expected. Cillian Murphy's villain Scarecrow was designed with simplicity in mind. His burlap mask looked disturbingly plain, as Nolan believed ordinary objects could sometimes be more terrifying than elaborate costumes. The idea worked. His calm, calculated demeanor, combined with a cheap-looking sack over his head, unsettled audiences more than any over-the-top villain design could have. Murphy's piercing blue eyes also became a challenge, as they were so striking that the crew had to dim the lighting on his face to avoid making him look too glamorous. Scarecrow himself carried hidden symbolism. Murphy later revealed that he played Crane as a twisted reflection of Batman, a man who also used a mask and fear as weapons, but for corruption instead of justice. This made him not just a villain, but a mirror image of what Bruce Wayne could have become if he had chosen the wrong path. That depth added an extra layer of eeriness to every scene Scarecrow appeared in. The film also broke new ground in cinema technology. Batman Begins was the first Batman film to use IMAX cameras for certain sequences. Nolan was testing the waters, and the success of these shots paved the way for The Dark Knight, which famously expanded the IMAX format even further and set a new standard for blockbuster filmmaking. Even Bruce Wayne's mansion had a strange twist. Wayne Manor was built as a full-scale set in England, and during one intense fire scene, parts of it actually caught on fire for real. The crew managed to control it, but Bale admitted the flames felt a little too close for comfort. It gave his performance an extra layer of authenticity in moments of panic. The level of detail Nolan demanded extended to Gotham's skyline. Entire sections of the city were created using massive miniatures called obigatures, some towering several feet high. These allowed the camera to sweep through Gotham without relying on fake computer models. Even today, many viewers assume the backgrounds were digital, but much of it was built by hand. One of the strangest on-set stories came from the Batmobile itself. During its test runs, the vehicle was so powerful that the crew nicknamed it the Beast. Its ability to leap, crush obstacles, and roar across set pieces wasn't movie magic. It was all real engineering. Nolan later admitted he wanted the Batmobile to look like something the military had secretly built, and his design team delivered exactly that. And finally, though Scarecrow wasn't the central villain, he became one of the most important characters in Nolan's trilogy. Nolan loved Cillian Murphy's take so much that he brought him back in The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. This made Scarecrow the only villain to appear in all three films, a subtle thread of continuity that tied the trilogy together in ways most fans didn't notice at first. Looking back, Batman Begins wasn't just the rebirth of Batman. It was a film built on strange choices, dangerous stunts, and bizarre behind-the-scenes events that shaped the Dark Knight's legend. Behind the mask and shadows of Gotham, the chaos of making the movie was just as fascinating as the story itself.